This is an unboxing of the Sprint Airave 2.5. This is a recent update to the Sprint Airave 2. This Airave 2.5 was recently acquired due to the death of my Airave 2, or at least a sequence of LED lights that indicated that it was no longer functioning. So after a call to Sprint customer service, they quickly shipped out a new updated Airave. So as we look at the box, at the front of the box, we've got the picture of the new Airave 2.5. We've got some instructions on the sides, and the indication in this box is the Airave 2.5, power supply cord, an Ethernet cable, an external GPS antenna, as well as some instructions in English and Spanish. And the requirements: it requires an active broadband connection and to be located near a GPS connection, as long as 110 volts of power. So obviously this is not suitable for taking to Europe with you and hooking up to a connection in a hotel room. The GPS will tell you that you're outside of the Sprint service area. And services available on the Sprint Airave 2.5 are designed for use with Sprint phones and the Sprint 3G network and the nationwide Sprint network. So as we move the seals here on either side, we will then be able to see what's inside and see how this has changed from the original Sprint Airave 2. I guess I shouldn't call it the original. Oh, and on the back there's a picture of the device here showing the reset button, the network, and then it also has a 2-port router built into it as well. The other side has the MAC ID address, which I'm not going to show on camera for obvious reasons. So as we take off the interior cardboard, we've got first the Read Me First instructions, guidebooks in English and Spanish. If we open this up, open up the cardboard here, we then have the power cable. This is nice and neatly bundled up. This is a, let's take a look at it here. The output is 12 volt DC at 2 amps. As we open up the box here, we obviously now have the centerpiece of this whole thing, the device, and let's check underneath here. And underneath here, we have the external GPS cable. So this GPS cable has a small port at one end, and the other end, so this is just an extension cable. As we look at the Airave 2.5, we'll take it out of the package here and remove it and set it on its side. First thing I noticed with the cable here is the GPS antenna actually slides into and out of it, and you can see the connector right there. And so this is actually built in. On the older 2, there's a GPS built in, or for the external antenna, it plugged in separately. So this is a nice little thing here on top, so that's an integrated component that you can use and reuse. On the back we've got the reset instructions here, and notice that this is property of Sprint. If you have any trouble here, you're supposed to contact the Airave help desk, as well as the phone number here. And then on the bottom here we've got some vent and some airflow. And then on the side, you'll notice it says mobile, network, GPS, and broadband. Top, no lights. Back, no lights. This is in comparison to, just now put this side by side, the 2.5. Let me pull out the Airave 2, which is now sitting behind it, and you can see how the Airave 2 is much larger. And if we look on the side here on the Airave 2, it had a voicemail, a VoIP, mobile, GPS, and broadband. So these same 4 lights are still present on the 2.5. The device is much smaller, and now it lacks the integrated voicemail light, which when I had it, the voicemail light was never really worthwhile for me to use. It worked sometimes, other times it didn't. If we compare the rear of these devices here, both very similar. We've got the same 12 volt power supply at the bottom, the LAN connections, the wide area network connections. One other difference you'll note is on the old one here, there's no status indicator lights, but the new ones do have status indicator LEDs above the socket, so hopefully that'll be a nice touch for being able to diagnose any network troubles. And then at the top here we have the network, the external GPS port on the 2 but the 2.5 has the removable slot here. Looks like there's some adhesive tape for being able to stick this somewhere for the GPS. And the whole point of having one of these devices in your home is to basically provide you a convenience for an access point when you're at home, so you don't have to worry about fighting lost calls or dropped calls anywhere around your place of residence. So if you're on Sprint and you're having trouble using your devices at home, this might be the possible solution for you. If you're not interested in changing carriers, or you live in a dead spot, or in the case of where I live, it's very difficult to get a signal in my basement. My basement is where my home office is. No signal in my home office makes it difficult for me to actually conduct business and be productive. So it's important for me that I can stay connected. And if that suits you, perhaps this might be the right device for you. Otherwise, contact with your cell carrier. Other carriers have similar devices that are suited for their network, such as AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. Thanks, and have a